when I hear a lot of Republicans and a lot of conservative radio and talk show hosts say, well, the midterms are going to be a bloodbath for liberals, I say, wait a second, man. You're underestimating 81 million votes showing up somewhere. I think this is the start of a bigger plan to, take back the midterms from the Democratic Party. Am I way off base on that?
You're not. I mean, it's the only play that the Democrats have right now. It's the only play to try to switch some of those moderate voters, maybe the women that live in the suburbs, because we're not talking about the folks that are on the right. You know where they're going to vote. You know where the folks on the left are going to vote. Elections are decided by the people who voted for Obama, then Trump, then Biden. It's the same voter, that person that's in the middle, that lives in the suburbs, that may be a teacher, that might be a woman. These are the people that are going to decide the election. Now, the one thing I would clap back on a little bit is we're going to find out how much people are really on board with abortion. Because if this were something that they thought the overwhelming majority of the country would get behind, they would have absolutely no issue at all making this a states' right issue. If so many people, like to the point where you can't even fathom that this is a conversation, love abortion so much, why are they afraid to go to the ballot box, have their representatives fight for them, and show America how they feel about it? Because I got to be honest with you, Coach, I don't think the numbers are as big as they think they are. The voices are loud on Twitter. The voices are loud on people protesting. But I don't think the people that work in restaurants, work in barbershops, salons, hotels, those middle of the road voters, I don't think they're all in. And the other thing that's really a question and kind of problematic right now is the messaging. Are they saying they want all abortion, no limits at all? Or are we talking about terms of abortion? Because I think that's a big conversation. I've spoken with a lot of people who have said, okay, I understand the concept of abortion, but I can't get on board with what they tried to do in Virginia, this late term, up until birth, post-birth abortion. I think these are very interesting conversations. And quite frankly, I think they should be done at the state level.
Is the lovely Crystal Hammer participating in the Joy Bear-led sex strike?
No, she has not, but it depends on what I say in the next couple of minutes of whether or not she's embarrassed or not. Joy Behar calling for a sex strike is like Richard Marx in Color Me Bad saying we're not going to make music anymore as a protest. Don't threaten me with a good time.
I always say her name wrong, and I do it intentionally. Just, I said this earlier. I want Whoopi over on this side, and I want Joy Bear over here. You know how you go to a work site and they say, 10 days without an accident? I want a chart for last time Whoopi and the last time Joy had some sex. Put your money where your mouth is, women. Let's go. Let's go.
So my question for Whoopi and Joy, my question for those two ladies is, are we doing my body, my choice or not? Because these two lunatics were screaming at people about the vaccine mandates. If you don't want to get the vaccine, then you need to lose your job. You need to not be part of society. You are a pariah if you don't want this vaccine mandate. But yet, when it comes to abortion, it's my body, my choice. So we went from yes to no to yes in the span of about 2.5 years here. I'm just looking for a little consistent message on the whole thing here. And this goes for Kamala Harris, too. Kamala Harris and the Biden administration, they literally fired Navy SEALs because they did not want to get an injection of something into their body. They fired Navy SEALs. And then Kamala Harris goes up there yesterday with that awful cackle of a laugh that she has, starts screaming at people, basically saying, my body, my choice. Well, what is it? You're going to fire Navy SEALs? What about their body and their choice?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think you're going to get an answer to that. I don't think you're going to get a straight line. It'll never align. Let me put it to you that way, right? I mean, I always go, it's whichever way the wind blows, baby.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And by the way, why are they putting up big fencing around the Supreme Court right now? I was told that fences and walls and things like that don't work. That's why the border was never
Oh,
completed down under Donald Trump's watch. And when Joe Biden took over, border walls don't work. Fencing doesn't work. We're not going to spend billions of dollars on that. That's what I was told. But lo and behold, there's now a bunch of fencing going up around the United States Supreme Court. I wonder why that is.
all you got to know is in Bel Air and Beverly Hills, where all of our supposed stars live, every one of them has a wall around their house. I got in an argument with a good friend of mine. He said, that's not the same thing. I said, okay, it's not the same thing, but they do it anyway. You know what I mean? I'm so with you on that. The whole idea that walls and fences don't work, then all of you movie stars, all you folks up there, get rid of your own walls, get rid of your own gates, and then I'll listen to you. Oh, I'm so with you. Hammer time, I said earlier today, just before you came on, that what's in this belly is last night's chicken, mozzarella. I had some dried cranberries, some marshmallows, and some graham crackers, and a glass of wine. There ain't no reproductive organs in this belly, big boy. So let me ask you, if men supposedly can have babies, can men have a voice in this abortion issue?
That's a really great question, Coach, because this is something that we've thought about on our afternoon radio show. Because I host an afternoon radio show. My co-host is a dude. My producer is a dude. And when this whole story broke, we were thinking to ourselves, all right, do people want to hear a room full of dudes, a straight sausage fest, talk about abortion? But then, when you sit back and think about it, if you're going to tell me that men can get pregnant, if the pregnant man emoji is something that you're applauding, if you're applauding men competing against women in sports, and if you're going to put tampons and period products in the men's room in major college campuses across this country, I think it's okay for men to have a little bit of this discussion here. Is that wrong?
I don't. I mean, look, not me. I don't want to be part of the discussion. I want to watch. But honest to God, the men pregnant emoji, no, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like if that's the route we're taking, the men, at least those men that can get pregnant, I guess should have a discussion.
I'm just playing by the rules.
Hell,
that
man,
they
I don't
provided.
know.
I'm playing by the rules.
I know.
These are the rules. I didn't make them up, Coach. These are the rules. And going back to the fencing, one more thing. The same people who are rooting for Liz Cheney and this January 6th commission, the same people who feel like January 6th is the worst thing that's ever happened, worse than Pearl Harbor, worse than 9/11, are really rooting for people to go into the Supreme Court and raise hell. The same people are. The hypocrisy on this whole thing, whether it's the fencing issue, whether it's the doxing, whether it's my body, my choice, the whole thing is loaded with hypocrisy. And you can also tell who's read this statement from the Supreme Court and who hasn't. Because the biggest misconception out there is that abortion would be banned. And that's not true. That's not true at all. As a matter of fact, some states would go completely unchanged. And keep in mind, this is just a draft. It's not anything that's locked into law yet. Things can change, but this would not ban abortion. It would make it at the state level. And again, if everybody loves this so much, get out, lobby, get your friends together, go vote. And worst case scenario for somebody that's all in on abortion, your state says, you know what, we're not going to have it, or we're going to put limitations on it, which is what most states are probably going to do outside of probably Oklahoma and Texas. They'll put a limitation on it. You can travel to another state. And I don't want to hear the argument that, well, what if you're somebody that's poor? You can't afford to travel to another state. If you're that poor that you cannot drive to another state or get a ride to another state and have this procedure done, you sure as hell don't need to be having a kid. The risk reward needs to be a conversation that you think about before you have sex. I'm sorry. If that's a dude thing to say, I apologize, but we're covering all grounds here.